Good day, everybody. Welcome to today's video. If you're following along in this video with my 2003 Jeep TJ that I've been doing an LS swap in, I was getting ready to fire it up, put coolant to it, and coolant started leaking out of the heads. And the engine builder had told me that they had some issues with some head gaskets they got from a manufacturer. I already did a video of doing the intake removal to try to keep these videos as short as possible. Now we're going to start removing the heads. One of the things we're going to focus on right now is removing any existing wiring that's on, removing the grounds from the back of the head. Once those are taken care of, I'm going to start removing the headers from both sides. We also need to remove the power steering and that whole bracket if you have the Vortec motor. Now, ultimately, your grounds and everything else aren't going to be the same as mine. So I'm doing a custom application here. But you need to make sure everything's removed off the head. Now these are gasketless headers, so they're put on with a high temperature silicone. Just remove them. Next thing to do is to pull the accessory drive bracket off the front of the head. Pull the belt off. Fish it out. Let's start pulling the coils off of both sides. Let's pull the valve covers off now. Next thing to come off is the crossover tubes. Remove the crossover tube. There's these four little gasket things. When I did my intake a little while ago, it came with new ones, so I'm just going to replace it with those new ones. So now I'm almost ready to pull off the heads. What I'm going to do right now is set it at top dead center on cylinder number 1, this one being cylinder number 1, and top dead center on the compression stroke, so when the piston's coming up, both valves will be closed. And that's what I'm going to set it at before I start removing the heads. Intake is opening, and now we're coming up to the compression stroke. I'm gonna put something in the cylinder just to feel where the piston's at. Coming up, feeling with the wire here. Pretty good right there. I know I can set it up better once the heads are off. So before I get started, I want to point this out. If you're doing this job, then obviously you know that these are torque to yield bolts. And if you have an aluminum block, I highly recommend you don't try to use an impact at all to remove them. You shouldn't even use an impact, period. You take your chances. What I did is that I would use a breaker bar and bust the bolt as free as I can. They're going to be pretty hard to get out. Once the head of the bolt is lifted off the cylinder head, then I would put an impact on it and try to spin it out. But if it's not going to come out easy, I wouldn't recommend it because you could easily rip the threads off with it. So now let's get started with this video. I'm going to start removing the rockers. pull them out one at a time, take a push rod, and then set it correspondingly where it goes, because that's the way everything is going to go back. This is the last one, and then remove that. Set it down with your stuff. Start pulling the bolts across the bottom, in the middle, and this head should come off. Coolant drained, obviously. I drained the oil. So, let's see what's in all fairness, I'm not going to show every bolt being taken out. However, some bolts are not going to come out very easy. A lot of them you're probably going to have a pretty good breaker bar or a snipe to get them off. I got the last bolt, and in theory this head should just lift off. I wonder if they're about us. All right, now this will come off, and presto. There you have it, the heads are done. Covered up the engine block while it's not being in use. And I'm gonna go over in the next video or so the reason why these heads leaked when I put coolant to them. In case you guys haven't been following along on my main channel and what happened. It's kind of a rookie move for what I believe an engine builder to do. I'm going to explain that in the next video, but both heads are off. Waiting on new parts now. Once those parts come in, I'm going to go into detail in the video of installing the heads, doing the torque, because torque to yield, and also setting up the rockers. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.